In today's video, I'll be showing the easiest way to put up a fence and a gate ever, showing what to do if you have a rusty back door, and trying to figure out why the internet keeps telling me to hang bed sheets from my windows, pour white powder on my floor, and hot glue a pencil to my measuring tape, plus more things you guys dared me to do in the comment section. In the last video, I asked you guys to tell me something that everybody looks stupid doing, and after reading your comments, I realized there's probably a lot of stupid things I need to stop doing. And since you guys left so many comments, I thought I'd ask another question. If you could be any animal for a day, what would it be and why? It could be anything from a whale so you could show off your blubber, to a raccoon so you could steal whatever you want. Be creative with your answers and put whatever you can come up with in the comment section. I'll be picking 10 of my favorite to feature in the next video. Now we'll be getting started with the easiest way ever to build a fence. And if you have no idea how to build a fence, you start by digging a hole, dropping in a post, and pouring in concrete. Then after the concrete dries, you screw the fence panels into the posts. And if you ever want to take it down for any reason, too bad. That's going to be there forever. So what I like to use instead are post anchors, which is just a big metal spike that you hammer into the ground. Then you just slip the post into that, which is definitely easier than any other way you could do it. And not to mention, it's a lot faster. Now, of course, I should be wearing shoes right now, but don't worry, it's okay. I'm from Florida. Sandals actually do qualify as shoes here, so it's no big deal. And shoes are boots, and boots are leg armor. Now granted, this method of building a fence is not quite as sturdy as if you had cemented it into the ground, but does it really need to be? Are you trying to keep tanks out? If not, then this method should probably work just fine. I've had most of my fence up for over a year and it's held up just fine. It even survived a hurricane in that time where not every fence in my area did. So of course, I'm pretty happy with it. All I'm doing here is adding in 2 more panels to extend my backyard into the side, but it would work the exact same way no matter how big of a fence you're actually gonna be building. And while I was doing this, I did end up having to rip these things out of the ground and move them over, which wasn't that easy, but at least it was possible, unlike the other way. It's just me learning the hard way that I need to measure everything twice, or in my case, maybe even 3 times.
So just to give you guys a little bit of a closer look at what these post anchors do, you just shove the 4x4 into it, and then you screw it shut. It's pretty simple. This is one where you just sort of screw it to the wood. You don't actually tighten it around the wood, you just screw it together. And I think that most of them are probably like this. But whether you have this or this, either way, it's going to be a lot easier than doing concrete.
Next, have you ever tried to walk through a fence only to be stopped by stupid wood that didn't know how to get out of the way? Boy, I'll say! Well, you're in luck, because now there are gates. A new contraption aimed at showing that fence who's boss. But seriously, before I built this gate, there was no way into my backyard except for through the house. Which means anytime I mowed the back lawn, I had to bring the mower through the house to get into my backyard. I'm not even kidding. But it was kind of stupid that I didn't build this gate earlier because it was incredibly easy. I just added 2 more posts, and then I cut the rails one at a time, adding hinges as I cut them. Then I cut the other side and added a latch. I also made sure to cut that side as an angle so it would work as a door stop, so I wouldn't just be hammering out my latch every time I slammed the gate. Then I added 1 board at an angle to help the gate not sag, and I don't even know if that was necessary, but I decided to do it just because I knew it wouldn't hurt.
All right, now here's the gate that we built. It is super simple, and you definitely cannot tell what it is from the other side. Everything lines up perfectly, and as you can tell, this jagged cut right here will actually work as a door stop. So I don't have to worry about the door flying out that way. It'll stop right here every single time. I don't know what more you could want out of a gate than that. That's just perfect. It's not sagging yet. If it does, then whatever. But I don't think it will. I'm pretty sure that this right here, this little cross beam, is exactly what I need to make sure that doesn't happen. I'm pretty happy with my work, to be honest. This was the cheapest and easiest way to build a gate, and in my opinion, it's also the way that looks the best.
The next home repair hack is an easy way to fix a rusty anything. But in my case, I have a rusty back door, in more ways than one, unfortunately.
So as you can see, this door has definitely seen better days. It's got rust all over it. But luckily, there's actually something we can do about this besides just throwing the door away. And that is cover it with Rust-Oleum. First we gotta sand it. And when we're applying the spray paint, I'm gonna use the spray gun because that should make things a lot easier.
When I first moved in, this door was freshly painted, and I assumed that they just painted over the rusty door with the wrong kind of paint. So I just sanded it down a bit and painted it with Rust-Oleum, which stops rust. Now I'm sure there are plenty of runs and drips, and there is a bit of overspray on everything, but I still think this is a major improvement. And now I don't have to worry about my door rusting off the hinges. Although after I shot this next part, I did go over it about 500 more times.
Guys, I'm not saying that this is absolutely perfect, but it is a whole lot better than it was before. I mean, all the way up. You might see a little bit of a streak here or there, but you're not gonna see any rust, and you probably will never see any rust again. Not to mention, this isn't even finished drying yet, so it'll probably look a little bit more even if you give it a little bit of time. But for now, even with these results, I'm pretty happy about it. And that being said, we'll be on to the next life hack.
Next up, I wanted to talk about a popular DIY craft that makes no sense to me, and that is making your own curtains out of bed sheets.
So these are the blinds that I have in my house, and they are, well, not so great. They don't really even keep the light out very much. It's about as basic as you can get for window treatments. And I have seen a lot of DIY craft ideas for making your own curtains, but to be honest, they all kind of suck.
Now look, if you have to buy the bed sheets, you're probably going to be spending more money than you would have if you bought curtains after it's all said and done. And it's almost definitely going to look terrible. Now, a lot of the times I can empathize with people doing weird DIY crafts so they can get the things that they need. But how badly does anyone really need curtains? Unless you're some kind of a vampire, you don't actually need curtains. Sometimes it's just better to save up to get the actual thing. Unless you're a professional seamstress and you can just make curtains out of anything, then more power to you. But for us laymen's, sometimes it's just better to buy it from the store.
Alright guys, there it is. I love the way that these look, and you know I'm telling the truth because I have some of them over there on my other window. But these are actually going to be very, very useful because it's difficult to film in here when I've got bright rays of sunlight beaming through, messing up my shots. And not only that, but this is where I always film the vlog part of my videos, so you can usually see like just a corner of this while I'm doing that, so this will be part of my set from now on, so get used to seeing these. And that being said, we'll be on to the next home repair life hack.
For this next life hack, what we're going to be doing is finding out if baking soda, water, and a toothbrush will clean a disgusting grout that looks like that. As you can see, the normal color of my grout actually changes once you get to here because, well, I had a garbage spill. There's a leaky bag of garbage that I left on the floor, and this is the disgusting mark that it made afterwards. That being said, I'm really hoping that this life hack works. So now, according to the internet, all you have to do is put baking soda on the grout, add a little bit of water, and scrub it with your toothbrush. Then after you wipe it up, it's completely clean. And hopefully this disgusting part of my grout looks more like this part of my grout. And that being said, let's get this thing going. So I don't really know exactly how much baking soda to use, so I'm just gonna use way too much apparently. Now from what I heard, just baking soda and water is all you need to do this. But if it doesn't work, I could always try baking soda and vinegar. That's supposed to have even more cleaning power. And of course there's bleach and a million other things, but this is what life hack channels were saying to do, so that's what we're gonna try. And it kind of looks like Scarface was throwing a party here, so I better get this cleaned up before anyone sees it. And in case you were wondering, this is my real toothbrush, so it better work. I think it's working. The baking soda is now very discolored, sort of like grayish color, which means it's pulling some of the dirt up, so I'm gonna keep going. It looks like it's about done now, so I'm gonna wipe this clean and hopefully it's not disgusting anymore. Well, that was not expected. Now there's all these weird clumps of baking soda all over the place. Well, it's not even completely dry yet, and I would already say that that looks a lot better. However, I did have to destroy a toothbrush, and I'm not exactly sure how much the baking soda actually helped. I mean, I know that it got it clean, but I don't know if that would have still worked if I had just used water. I mean, like I said, I had to use a lot of elbow grease when I was getting this thing clean. It took several minutes of me scrubbing it with the toothbrush, so I don't really know what wouldn't come clean after doing that, but I do know that these grouts were really, really disgusting, and now they're not. So that being said, I have to give this life hack a passing grade, and that being said, we'll be on to the next one. So the next thing I wanted to show you guys was a very cool life hack that I found on life hack channels. I'm usually telling you guys all the stupid stuff that they keep saying, but this one I actually really, really like, and I've been using it ever since I found out. So I measure stuff all the time, whether that's for a life hack or just measuring my own feet. But whenever I'm taking measurements, I can never seem to find a pencil. And not only that, but it's a little bit awkward trying to make my mark at the exact place that I actually have this thing. And well, frankly, I'm just kind of lazy. And if I can find an easier way to do something, I'm gonna do it. And the way you get around that is just by gluing a pencil to your measuring tape. It works pretty well. So now I'm just gonna start this process by putting a nice big glob of glue on my number 2 pencil over here. And already that's pretty cool. So now say I'm making measurements every 2 inches across this board. I can easily just, apparently it needs a little bit of reinforcements, but I'm sure I can get this to hold with a hot glue gun. There we go. Now, like I was saying, you could build an entire house with just a hot glue gun. I blame the mishap on the pencil. And that being said, let's give this a shot. Now, let's say I was trying to make a mark every 4 inches going all the way down this board. It would be pretty easy because all I have to do, measure there. And although these lines might be kind of faint, you can definitely tell that they're 4 inches apart. Not too shabby. And I'm not saying it would have been impossible without this life hack, but it's definitely a little bit easier. And that being said, we'll be on to the next one. So if you found this video helpful, or if you just enjoyed watching it, make sure to leave it a like. If you're new to the channel, make sure to subscribe. And of course, I'll be seeing you guys in just a few days with a new video. All right, thanks guys. Bye.